Darlings, how are we? I think tonight we shall have an altar. Yes, one of them. We have many. Fuck this place, fuck the system, and fuck the fucking laws by the fucking games. I make my fucking rules. You make your fucking rules. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. Ain't that snorty? It's fucking called freedom. It's fucking called freedom. I make my fucking rules. Testicle. In the vacuum. We need to eradicate. We need to eradicate. Testicle. In the vacuum. Fuck this place, fuck the system, and fuck the fucking laws by the fucking games. I make my fucking rules. You make your fucking rules. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. I don't fuck with you, you don't fuck with me. Ain't that snorty? It's fucking called freedom. It's fucking called freedom. I make my fucking rules. Darlings, how are we? Testicles. In the vacuum. We need to eradicate. We need to eradicate. Testicles. In the vacuum. We need to eradicate. Fuck the system, eradicate. Fuck the system, eradicate. Fuck the system, eradicate. Fuck the system.
Don't touch me, man.
As well as being up for the most significant swearing award, we might get a fucking music award at the end of this, you know? Testicle. In the vacuum. We need to eradicate. We need to eradicate. Testicle. In the vacuum. We need to eradicate. Fuck the system, 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 eradicate. Fuck the system,
Hello there, strangers. That looks like it's on. Good. How are yous? Been kinda busy. We've had a house of the common cold before anybody starts jumping on coronavirus push. Kinda busy. So I've not been doing anything. I just thought I'd come on here tonight in case you missed me. Or in case any globe believers thought that I'd give up. It's just not the case. How are we all? I don't know what's happened with my channel. I just checked it there. And there seems to be a hell of a lot of videos missing. For whatever reason. I'm going to have to sort that out. I'll just see. Showing one here, I've got 18 videos. Anyhow, how are we all? Party Pack, Stephen Young, Pagan Tree, TMF, I'm Black, whatever. Andrew Calvert, Neil Williams, Dodo, Zamal, World Without Curve, Freedom Awaits, V Thomas, Dodo, Mike Borg, One Man, He's Detector, Stationary Plane. No. As I say, 5 years constantly, you just need a wee break now and again. So, but anyhow, again, I'm going to open up this evening if anybody's there, they want something to say. But obviously, you know, I've put that at the title, how do you debate Globers? You know, I'm mainly aiming this at people who are trying to discuss this topic with your family. So I can only go through, again, what I've always stated here. Now what I state is the truth. What I'm stating in regards to this is factual. You know, what you first have to do if you're going to speak to anybody, if you're going to have an open dialogue with them, you have to agree upon certain things first and foremost. So that would be where I would suggest you go. You know, I've highlighted debate because, you know, first and foremost, what you would agree with somebody else is that the question is in regards to your objective reality. Now, for anybody that doesn't comprehend what objective, I mean, I'm probably speaking to people who know fine well the differences between objective and subjective. But objectivity means the world that you and I occupy, the space that we occupy, the space that we share. Okay? And that is what space is. Space is the distance between objects. Okay? The notion that you have of space is, we'll get there in a minute. So, you know, if you can agree with people that the discussion is about objectivity, then you can start to lay out certain things. You know, and again, for me, what you would have to establish with people is that if you're talking objectively, people are required to bring you practical reference, actual physical demonstration for the claims that they're making. Now, there's a separation when we get into the realms of things like, you know, the globe is full of, obviously people should be aware of this by now, the globe is so full of language and looking above intangible visible phenomena in the sky. So they have a method of sophistry, which is using language to convey a story, an interpretation that they have created in regards to a superficial, imaginative model of what they think the universe is and what surrounds the globular earth. That's where you can start to see the difference, because again, if you establish with somebody that you're looking for practicality, i.e. you're dwelling in the realms of physics, that being real physical substance, then you can start to see that, you know, the globe lacks 100% when it comes to physicality, because it doesn't have physics to support it. It has theoretical physics, which just basically means storytelling. Language, you know, mathematicians, you know, defining and creating axioms from nothing and then constructing upon these axioms and making assumptions and presuppositions about all sorts of stuff. So, I know I'm digging it. You know, this is a problem, and this is a problem I'm having with the creating small videos, because it's so complex when we get into this topic in regards to language and all the subdivisions of each aspect of it. So, you just need to bear with me. I'm only doing this maybe to help. Hopefully, you know, it'll help you if you're trying to have a discussion with associates, family members, friends, whatever it may be. So, I always try and get an agreement. There's no point in you jumping straight in and mentioning flat earth or any of these types of loaded terms. As I've said so many times before, it is a loaded term. It's a term that is associated with propaganda, you know, misinformation, because first and foremost, you are under no obligation to produce any sort of conceptual model of your reality. Okay? You do not live in a conceptualized model of reality. You experience reality directly every single day. Now, when I'm engaging with another human being, I need them to be at that level and for them to comprehend that they are duty bound to offer me practical reference for any claim that they are making. Okay? So, when we're into the realms of you know, subjectivity, it starts to become wishy-washy, you know, and that'll become apparent with the globe, because it is, a lot of it is just subject to interpretation. It's really flimsy. So, you know, establish with people that you're in the realms of physicality and physics, first and foremost. They must agree upon that, because, you know, we're talking about a process of reasoning here. How do we reason with each other? The only way I can reason with another human being is by first laying out my first principles, expressing to them who I am and where I'm coming from. You know, what I was saying there a minute ago about using the term flat earth, as soon as you mention that, there is so much baggage, contained within people in relation to that term flat earth, that they automatically start branding you and throwing all sorts of labels and associations and assumptions at you. And you would then have to sift through all those. And it really leaves you, at the end of a discussion or a conversation like that, you'll feel like no progress was ever made. Because how could you if you never established first principles, a foundation to move forward upon? Okay? So you can see that evident when, some of the street interview stuff, that's always a method I try and use. I'm trying to lead people through a process of questioning so that they, commit to things off their own back without me, putting words into their mouth. Right? So, forget where I was going. Aye. So, once you've established these types of first principles, then you can move forward. If it comes up, you're a flat earther, you're this, you're that, then you have to be able to articulate to them that that's their flawed reasoning. Okay, they're not being very logical and their reasoning abilities are very shallow. Okay, because a discussion should be a discussion. And again, it cannot be personal. If you've agreed that it's a question of the objective, then it can never get personal. If it starts to get personal and people start to turn their attention on you as the persons, then, these people are defeated. And I don't mean you win the world or you win a prize. They're self-defeated. Okay? There is no point in you wasting any more time trying to reason with them. They've got a bias, their mind is made up, and you just leave it at that. Right? Now, debating people. You have to understand what the word debate means. A debate can only happen when there's a disagreement upon something. But again, when we come to objectivity, there is no, there's nothing to be sitting on the fence about. There is either a practical reference for a claim that's being made to you, or there is none. Okay? So, I'm just forgetting what I'm talking about. It's this heat cold. I've got the body snatcher bug within me, and it's taking over my fucking mind. What does what mean agreeing with Dale? No, this is why I'm saying you have to try and agree first principles. How am I supposed to reason with another human being on a topic of objective questioning when they can't agree that we must be within the realms of physicality? That's where the debate happens, getting back to where I lost myself. Debate only happens when things are subject to interpretation. When something is not fully known, that's when things like the luminaries come in. People debate about these things. It's been debated for, a long time. Because there's no way for human beings to access these things in 3 dimensions, to access them physically. So they're there to be interpreted. And that's where the problem starts to happen. Just like any other religion. Religions interpret the meaning of existence. Right? And they try and formulate, a system, a construct of reasoning to put forth their proposition. Right? But it doesn't mean that it's true. And because you can argue something by way of sophistry, it doesn't define anything or, prove anything. This is what I'm saying. And people can take you as arrogant and that you have to agree with me. Well, of course, that's who I am. I am a direct realist. I take reality for what it is. I'm not interested in beliefs and maintaining a bias, and placing faith upon things. Reality is what it is. I accept it for all that it is. What I don't accept is human beings telling me stuff about my reality and then not having the practical reference to show me. Again, going back to the globular concept, which it is a concept. It has no, absolutely, I don't mean, like I'm exaggerating. It has no physical references whatsoever. None. So how am I supposed to reason with a person who has faith and belief in something like the globe? It's a very difficult process because, you know, these people are under a hypnotic trance. They've got a belief and faith in something that they do not experience, will never experience. But they're enamoured by an image presented to them on a TV screen and the weight of authority that speaks like it has a grasp and like it has the backing of physical reality to support its assertions, when it's quite the opposite. So you're going to get a lot of defensive behaviour coming from people. But again, if you can establish with them about the objective aspect, if you can get them to agree that if it's objective and you can demonstrate it's no subject to debating. You know, again, debates can be won or lost depending on who the speaker is, how they formulate their argumentation. You know, what mood you may be in when you're paying attention to that could sway a decision at the end, or, you know, how you perceive something. But again, I'm not interested in manipulative means in order to sell a product, because that's the Globe's job. It requires, you know, manipulative measures and means to convince people. Just look at it. Look at the people who are proponents of it and their behaviour. You can go on YouTube and you'll find these debate platforms. How can any reasoned person, you know, ever suggest or misinform people that this is open to interpretation, this is up for debate? The aspects that are up for debate are the interpretative aspects, the parts that we cannot access in 3 dimensions. So, but, you know, it's difficult. And again, you know, there's the tools for truth, and obviously there's the street interviews where you can maybe get some, you know, use of tools and how to engage with people. But, you know, you have to remember that it's a treacherous task. You know, it's not an easy thing, because people are born into this situation. It's the only thing they've ever known. Well, at the same time, it's been reaffirmed in their mind that anybody that questions that, you know, concept is automatically to be labelled a crackpot, a lunatic, flat earther, this, that and the other. And what you have to remember is that these people are no vindictive, they're no, you know, actively, you know, choosing to behave like that. That's just the reaction that's programmed into them. You know, if you're in doubts about any of this stuff, look at the interviews. I mean, I'm going to universities. I'm asking supposedly higher educated peoples to reason with me on their beliefs and their assumptions, and they have nothing, which is a sad state of affairs. Again, if something's objectively true, demonstrable, then these people would have no problem pointing to any aspect of our reality. And again, another aspect that you can show people is that ask them a simple question. Do you experience the Earth as a globe? Let them think about it for a minute. And then ask them to point to something through their experience that justifies belief in a globe. I guarantee you the only thing you're going to get is the best that they can offer, which is being, you know, images on your TV or referencing above. Again, it's your duty to, you know, point out to them that it's a red herring fallacy. You cannot utilise what is above to define what is beneath. And if they do persist, ask them to explain their reasoning. It's the same as, you know, people can relate to this. You hear it continually. You've been labelled, right? So as soon as you start engaging with anybody in regards to this topic, some of the ridiculous, stupid questions and statements that are made to you. Explain a lunar eclipse on your flat earth. So in a simple statement like that, you have to be able to break that apart and look at it and then articulate it back to them. Well, hang on now, it's not up to me to, you know, answer to your claim, because that's what they're doing. You know, subtly they have made a claim, which they are then asking you to explain on your imaginative conceptual model of a flat earth. They have to answer the questions. First question I would ask them is how does a lunar eclipse define the earth? How does a lunar eclipse give you measurability of the earth or the geometry of the earth. That's up to them. And as I say, point out to them their use of fallacious reasoning. Saying, how do you get a sunset or a flat earth? How do you get a... You know, there's always a role reversal, and I want to reiterate this to people. I've said it, you know, in an arrogant form, that, you know, you have to remain in the mastership role. You're the questioner. Again, if you keep making assertions or affirmative statements, that being claims, then you're duty bound to answer to that if you're going to engage with people. But if you start from the position of being sceptical of the position that you were born into, and that is what's being questioned, then you're always free from questioning. And so you should be. To say it's not your responsibility or your duty to provide these, you know, people with a conceptualised version of reality. Reality is to be explored. That's the only way you get, you know, a knowing, through practical experience. You can sit in a room and read as many books as you can read every book if you like. Doesn't mean you know stuff. Knowledge is something separate from experience. Experience is a direct interaction of the thing. You don't need to call that knowledge, you can call that experience. As usual, this is all I've got is Babobi. Bye-bye, Babobi. I'll need to pull the phone out and put it on charge. Well, the thing about exploring, you know, I know I'm going to digress here, but I don't care, because I'm not feeling my best, so it doesn't really matter. It'll matter when I put up the individual videos. We'll get to the nub of the whole fucking thing, but, you know, again, you know, people that don't comprehend this, you know, human beings do not know where they are or why they are here, right? That is the sole root of the problems that human beings have, because they've never went through a process of even reasoning with themselves and asking the right questions. They were born into, you know, a rat race, a race that was already being run, and they're just following everybody else and trying to adopt the concepts of who they are and what's expected of them in regards to their stature, their career, how much money they have, what life's about, and they run and they try and make the most of that and make sense of it. And there's certain experiences within that situation and that set of circumstances that you know, may be meaningful and that are true, but to encompass it with a bigger understanding or comprehension of who you are and what you're a part of, it doesn't really mean anything. The first questions you need to ask is, where are we? Right? That question and the ability that we have to explore the objective arena that we find ourselves in, for me, would take us to finding or getting us closer to understanding who we are. Again, you may, you know, when I say who we are, I don't mean who you are as a person, right? Because even your person or your persona has been moulded and formed due to the circumstances that you've been born into, right? So even, you know, that means diddly squat to me. I mean who we are as a whole, the bigger picture. Because, you know, people talk about truth seeking. Well, if you're somebody that contemplates, then you're inevitably going to come to these questions. That's what it's all rooted in. The fact of the matter is we're in bewilderment. We don't have any knowledge of how this came to be and what the purpose is, or what our purpose was, if there was any intended, or any of that stuff. So you get human beings finding themselves in a situation where they don't know where they are or why they're there, but they're all running about creating cultures and philosophies and religions and practices and left, right and centre, which again, shows you, exactly what I'm saying right now. These things are symptoms of the condition, and the condition is human beings don't know where they are or who they are. So, politics and history and, psychology, all this fucking stuff that we have, it's just a waste of your fucking time. The whole fucking game of manipulation, control, government, and the structures that we have on us right now is to limit your exploration of, your intelligence and the physical experience. The whole game, for me, is designed to stop you from ever going to the points. You can stay in the middle and you can argue, you can be at war with other factions who, want to defend some subjective position and, or greed over some commodity or whatever it may be. That's all fair game. As long as you're staying in the middle and you're at odds with each other. The problem arises is when you start to, unify in your questioning the very foundations that you assumed. Where are we? Who are we? And then you don't let that go. That's when the threat comes to manipulation and control structures. And that's what's the matter with them right now. That's what the panic's about. The panic's always the disgruntled cattle. And if the disgruntled cattle get too much disgruntled, then they might start asking some serious questions. You're allowed to fucking question everything. You can call the Queen a fucking reptilian, baby drinking, fucking blood sucking vampire if you like. Yeah, that's all fair game. Oh, woe betide anybody that starts to question where they actually are. Oh, serious issues. So anything I see going on in the political arena, blah blah, it's just all for the delusional masses. To keep them on this dead end road that they think they're going to find certainty on. And again, it's the definition of insanity. Repeating the same process over and over again and expecting some different result. And to be honest with you, that's what's kind of bummed me a wee bit recently. It's, everybody gets caught up so easily and distracted so easily by the shiny, whether it be coronavirus or what's happening in a political arena or, whatever. What's happening with other groups, what do they see? Ooh. We need the foundations. And it just pisses me off, right? And it should piss you off as well. Because that's the questions that need to be fucking answered. That's where you're being diverted from. Asking the questions and the physical pursuit, the direct physical exploration of where we think we are. They're keeping you penned in by, again, language sophistry. Using things like geometry, mathematics, and any other means that they can, just to keep you stifled and looking in the wrong direction. As long as you're doing donuts in the centre, you're fine. So I can't really be bothered coming on here and fucking trying to act all guru, talking about politics and all this fucking stuff, because it's just boring. A waste of fucking breath. Shows you how retarded human beings are when they still blend their attention to these things. Right, fuck it. I say I'm jumping about all over the place tonight. I'm not really, I don't really have a clear mind. So I'll open up in a wee minute. I want to see. You are correct, there is no debate about the shape of the earth. If you haven't figured out what it is, that is your problem. What you presented is a lot of word salad. This is the type of thing you get. You know, these are empty statements. This is the things you need to look for. You know, this who's there, whoever it may be, this character. You know, there's no specifics in that. Again, I can't reason. There's no articulation of specifics in order for you to have a progressive discussion so that you can come to conclusions and, you know, have closure on any given aspect. For me, everything's rooted in reason. There's a reason for everything. If you use the process properly, you can get to the nub of that. But when you're dealing with things like the globular earth concept and its proponents, they want to take you on a journey of spiralling, fucking never-ending, going round in circles. Right? Using language and empty statements and whatever else. You know, and this clown's got 35 likes. I mean, it just shows you the use of bots, fake accounts, whatever. Because, you know, if we're applying intelligence to these types of things, look at that. You are correct, there is no debate about the shape of the earth. If you haven't figured out what it is, that is your problem. Why does that deserve liked? Is that how fucking stupid people are? What else did I see in here? Somebody got on here about, Dell, you make the claim that Horizon is always at eye level no matter the viewer's altitude. But before that I make the claim that the Horizon's not a physical thing. It's a property of vision. And what has to be defined is what you're defining the horizon as. Because if the horizon's not some geometric thing that exists outside in the actual real world, it's a property of vision. Okay? It doesn't matter what altitude you go at. That ratio of the floor and the sky always comes to a point in the centre of your field of view, right? But as I've pointed out before many times, the floor will always be beneath the centre of your field of vision. Because if it's no and it goes beyond it, you're looking into a hole, right? So the floor is always beneath your eyes, levelled eyes, because your eyes are above it. It's the globe that asserts that it's a solid thing, that there's a geometry to the earth out there where the sky comes down and goes over the curve of a curved earth, which raises up in front of you before it curves. And I've been through all this so many times. I'll be going through it meticulously in the series that's coming up because I'm determined that I'm going to expose this thing for what it is. An absolute fucking shit show shambles. And all this pathetic... The only thing you're going to get from now and once I do this series is I'm just going to keep linking you to the video that deals with your pish. Because that's the beauty. You might have thought you've gathered information off of people, you know, the globe, getting reactions and seeing where people are going to try and counter them. But you'll never win. Because people like me are on the side of fact, real world truth. So I'll just reference you right back to the facts all the time and keep exposing you for how empty and pathetic you actually are. The horizon's not out there. See, you look at a diagram of, you know, your vision. When you look at vision, right, see you've got an object, right, like that. Okay, now that's longer than my eye, right? Now see the top of that, that's coming down to the bottom of my eye, and that bottom bit's going up to the top of my eye. Now, right in the middle, there's a crossover point. So you can look at your eyeballs having two hemispheres, one at the top, one at the bottom, north and south. Right? So there's a crossover junction right through the centre of that. It's got nothing to do with the real world. The real world's demonstrably level. The real world is Euclidean. Your eyes are not. So this is the thing with them. They've been desperate to try and get me with something for, all this time, and that's the best they can come up with. You make a claim that a horizon shows you eye level, guy. First and foremost, I don't make any claim that it proves or defines anything. I'm the one that's been pointing it out to you. The horizon's not out there. The horizon changes from day to day. It's not a physical set thing. Again, if it was, I've seen people earlier talking about the horizon and the sun. Explain a sunset. Alright, well, let's hear yours. Well, the earth turns away from the sun, so the sun appears to go down. Is that right, Mr. Globetardian? Okay then, what you need to do for me is what I want you to get is to get a levelled device, right? Wait for your sun to go down, so that it's like halfway down where you think the earth that rises up in front of you cuts it out so you can only see a half moon shape, right? What I want you to then do is to elevate, remaining perfectly levelled, no tilting, perfectly levelled, right? And let's see what happens, because what must happen geometrically, physically, is that as you elevate up, that sun and that horizon must remain fixed and lower the higher you go, so that you can then tilt and look down at it. Not only that, you'll be looking down along at least 1,000 miles of earth. Because remember, this is the thing that people don't get in regards to scale. 24,000 mile circumference. Right? Nothing would be obscured for hundreds, if not over 1,000 miles. Nothing. But again, we're dealing in the realms of vision. And this goes back to pointing out things about the globe. I know it's repetition, but it has to be repeated because people still don't grasp it. There's a massive difference between the geometry of vision, that being how you see things, and what something physically is. Now that's the problem that comes with the globe, because it has no physical substance. It only has interpretation of vision, and at that, it's never laid out exactingly on what vision is, how it functions, and how they incorporate it into their proofsies. Doesn't exist. All you have is assertions being made and a bunch of fucking gobbledygook thrown on top of it to try and sway you into believing in an absurdity. Where else we go? Here's another one. They're running about liking each other's comments. I told you this before. You need to support each other, because this is the games they play. They play manipulation games. So they want to, sway people who may come to a comment section and say, oh, he's got lots of likes, so he must be true, because that's how thick people actually are. Yeah? When you apply some, real intelligence to it, you can see quite clearly that they've got nothing to offer you. Same as Ranty, just a fraud. Even as thick as you are, we know Earth is not flat. I've never claimed it was flat. I've never once claimed that the Earth was flat. But again, this is, on their part, these cult lunatics, these zealots of an idea. They're so infuriating. It's like they're like wee fucking annoying insects that need squashed. Because nothing can progress because of them. They're hell-bent and twisting everything and holding everything. They're actually holding the species back, these people, and their retardation. Hell-bent on manipulating to an ends. And you want to allow your children to be subjected to the likes of this? Your time is coming and we know you're using COVID-19 as a smokescreen. This is how delusional these people are. You are a real charlatan, full of shit at best. I don't recall any products I was selling. I'm no fit to play Simon Dan. Simon Dan and the likes of that are shit scared of somebody like me, right? Absolutely physically petrified, which is why they never ever approach. They never come here. They've been offered to meet in public. They've been offered that I'll travel to them. They're shite bags. Hiding on a tinterweb, spewing sophistry, barefaced lies at people. Well, they ask for money. That's a charlatan. That is the very definition of a charlatan. A false product at a cost. I view these people as criminally insane. Right? They're determined to stamp on the potential that human beings have to make true discovery. I've no measured the horizon rising to a level. You can't measure the horizon because it's not a thing. It doesn't exist in the real world. You daft. Again, I have to point out it's us that's been telling you that. How you measured it? Well, I looked through stuff and I made assumptions and then I just made claims. There's a ship going over the curvy water. But the curvy water rises up in front of you and then curves down like this. Crackpots. Utter fucking lunatics. Same again. Oh, gravity, what's your problem with gravity? Claim gravity's no real. I'm not even get into that. I'm going to save all that for the wee series. Well, it's going to be a long series, but you know, as I say, I really am looking forward to getting into the nitty gritty and exposing all this stuff for exactly what it is. And I'm going to try and make it so that, you know, people have got to accept it. The only thing that will stop them from accepting it is their, you know, ignorance, their willingness to deny the facts. So, anyhow, questions. Is it working? What's going on? You can call. I'm going to put the phone on in a wee minute. I'll let you know once it's on. Stevie G, me and Marty spoke about that. You know, NPCs. Some people you just look at, and I think it's, you know, for me, there's an issue that there's an operating system, an automatic operating system, and these people never, you know, consciously engage to override it. And you know, I look at them like that, like zombies, like NPCs, whatever the circumstance they find themselves in, that's what moulds them and that's what they become. And that's, you know, the majority of people we experience. Probably MI6 agent Simon Dan, have you seen him? Simon Dan couldn't fucking tear apart a soggy paper, fag paper. Right? But saying that, right enough, you don't have to be strong. He's a sleek it, snidey little fucking prick, so they're probably coppers. I've got my suspicions that the majority of these fucks are common purpose. You know, on both sides of the false dichotomy, flat and globe, they all work together. I've seen it, I've experienced it, you know, and how they try and fucking usurp the platforms, you know, and draw people's attentions. So the likes of fucking baldy flaps and all the rest of them, ex-military, ex-coppers, sneaky little snidey fucking snakes in the grass. I would could quite see that, no worries. They're no men of reason, intelligence, honesty, integrity, that's for fucking sure. Who's using your name, Mark Allen? Anybody that wants to join me in the hangout needs to send an email. 77th Brigade, aye. Well, the earlier lot called themselves the Bullingdon Badgers because they're all involved with that fucking type of clique, you know? Some of them weren't even born into the wealth. Some of them are just fucking arse lickers, right? That think they can get somewhere in life or be better because they're arse licking some fucking toffee-nosed fucking gimps. Greedy little snivelling fucking rodents. Why would you want to arse lick that and be accepted by these types of people? How fucking pathetic are you? I just did my job. That's the thing, Simon Dan knows science, but this is a problem with the definitions of what science actually is. Because you can accredit science, you just look at science as a process. So you can apply a process to anything. As I've said it before, you know, picking your ass or picking your nose, I could say, well, you apply a science to that, there's a method you use. Right? We need to be careful of these labels and try and speak to each other, you know, at a human level. And establish the word. Remember, language, it's just a noise. These words that you're comprehending and having images based upon, it's just noises that you've learned associations with. So that's what has to come first and foremost. Again, this will be part of the wee broken mini-series stuff. Right? Language is noises. Secondary to direct experience of the physical, of the fact. So Simon Dan might know science, but what science does he actually know? And that's why people like him don't come near me, because I comprehend the science that he thinks he knows. But his science is no use to practical, real, living people who are not going to be intimidated or bullied by consensus. Only the gullible, the weak and the dumb are swayed by consensus. Because their problem is that the majority of people are defined by what other people think of them. And that opens you up to corrupting yourself. Once you start giving a fuck what other people think about you, you're doomed. So we'll be asking the question, is it unreasonable? Am I an unreasonable man? Is it unreasonable for me to demand some physical representation of what you're claiming and asserting to me? No, it's fucking no. Because if you applied it in any other given circumstance, you would see that that's the case. You've got so many Jack and Ories out there that are willing to tell you big fanciful stories. The second that you say show me, or demonstrate it, that's when you find out whether or not they're talking shite. Right, let me see. Martin Allen, hopefully that was the right fake account. I've just can the real Martin Allen put a comment? Hold on. Aye. You hear me?
Hello?
Aye.
Hey?
I can hear you.
Hello?
Last chance, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Right. How can I help you?
What do you think they're hiding?
What?
At the poles?
Excuse me?
At the north?
Excuse me? Speak English?
English?
Hmm.
Is this Belzy's?
Yes, can you try and articulate yourself properly, please?
Yes, I'm articulating myself very well.
Right, go for it. What were you going to offer us? Other than your shite
I'm
patter.
to contest with you, Belzy's.
What?
I was asking you, what do you think is at the North Pole's?
What do you think's at the North Pole? Fuck knows.
Yeah.
Fuck knows. Fairies and elves and leprechauns.
Is that it?
What do you think's at the North Pole?
Well, I was watching Eric DeBay's video, and he's talking about Mount Meru.
Right. Can you not just listen? Can you not just reference things through your own reasoning and where you've came from and what your process is, rather than referencing what somebody else says all the time? What's your reasoning? What's your thought process?
My thought process. Well, I look at my... Well, I don't know. What do you mean?
Well, I can't talk to you anymore because you're too stupid for me. See you later, silly. There's no point in phoning me if you've not got the intelligence to fucking have a conversation. If you're going to phone me up and act like a fucking spastic, then I'm going to treat you like one. Let's see. Right. Gmail. You're hearing reflections off the microphone. For fuck's sake. I'll need to get my tech team onto that, see if they can sort it out for me. Hello?
Hello.
Who's this?
Is that you?
Huh?
Hello. Yeah, my name's Matt. I'm down in England.
How you doing, Matt?
I'm not too bad, mate. I'm just ringing up very quickly just to offer some support to you. And I've been watching you about 4 or 5 years on and off. And going through the same awakenings, realizations as yourself. It's been frustrating, it's been difficult, but having somebody else, knowing that someone else is going through it has been quite important. I'm also a guitarist and musician like yourself, and I don't know, I see parallels with the two of us. I'm a guitar teacher don't talk about flat Earth, or I call it flat Earth, but I don't talk about anything like that, just because people just can't take it. They're never going to get it if they don't get it, kind of thing. Well, maybe they will. After talking about it, they might think about it on their own and come back to you. But in the last 2 weeks of this, working with some old friends of mine, the only time I ever mention it is when somebody comes out and says something like, "Oh God, that sounds like something a flat earther would say," or that kind of front.
Yeah.
I won't let it lie, and I'll bring it up, and I'll just question people's reasoning behind their belief in the globe, and every single time, without fail, they will concede it's just a belief.
Yeah.
And at that point, I kind of want to stop and just move on and just talk about, I don't know, what, for breakfast or something. But they won't leave it alone, which shows their
It's bothering them.
desire to wake up to it and to actually, and the realisation that the reason they won't wake up, and everyone knows, and we're talking to the converted really a lot, but they won't wake up because they know how much work they're going to have to do inside themselves, mentally and spiritually, once they discard their growth theory.
Yeah.
And they can't do it. And I spoke to this guy, and he was, he told me he has 4 degrees, and already I thought he's lying, because he has 4 degrees, and PhD and a doctor after a degree, I suspect, if you're that way inclined. And the person I had been talking about it with previously was actually listening. And, as I said, I don't talk about it. It happened twice in 2 weeks at New Work. But anyway, this guy I was talking about previously, he has no sort of scientific background. And he just said what all this can say, which is like, I wish somebody was here that knew. I don't really know this stuff. I don't really know. I wish someone was here that knew, and they'd put you straight, kind of thing. Well, this guy turns up. He's got these 4 degrees. He's erudite enough to kind of, and forceful and trying to push his point of view. And I just let him talk. And although I haven't spoken to this other guy yet, I'm pretty sure he heard that this guy, full of knowledge, had nothing more to say than needed.
Yeah.
His cup is so full, he can't fit anything new in.
No.
So even if new information came to him, I mean, who do they need to tell them that it's not a globe? Do they need Brian Cox?
Yep.
Do they need David Attenborough? Who's going to get it through their head?
Well, that's
Now,
it.
what cock do they have to suck to know that it's that they've been hoodwinked?
But
And then as soon as he says to me, 4 degrees, 7 years his life, he said he's put into this. I mean, how are you ever going to wake up? Your ego will never allow it.
That's it. But you're exactly right. That's the problem. I mean, they've got their hierarchy. So it takes one of the priests, because it's a structure like that, like any other religion. They've got their high priests, and if it doesn't come from that authority, because these people are suffering from Stockholm syndrome. Again, you can get them to admit that it's a belief and they have faith in it, as I've done many times myself. But that's not enough to shake them. They actually need the authority that they've placed their faith in to come and tell them.
No, you're quite right. That is exactly it. And this guy even said to me, it's obviously, you can tell it's kind of got to me because it's been so long since I had a conversation like this. But he even said to me that, he couldn't take me seriously because of my belief. I informed him I didn't have any beliefs, but he said he couldn't take me seriously. I asked him if he believed in the moon landing.
Mm-hmm.
At which point he said yes, and gave some sort of strange comment. I accused him of sophistry, which he was very upset about.
Yeah.
But that was after he'd said to me something like, I could try to explain it to you, but it'd be like teaching a dog to play chess.
Well, that's
So
again.
at that point, I stopped. My politeness went down a little bit, and I just sort of said, "Well, you just didn't. This is sophistry. And I'm sure it's worked with your little bitches before. A little bit of confidence, a little bit of sophistry, a little bit of but it's not going to work with me." Kind of thing. I didn't say those actual words. I played it nice
But you need to.
I should take a leaf out of your book, but.
But you need to have the ability. You really need to have the ability to again, when somebody says something like that to you, it's a form of sophistry. It's a form of, you know, intimidation. You know, where they view themselves as superior to you, and they're already, you know, presupposing or assuming who you are, and that you wouldn't comprehend this, that, and the other. So you have to point out that that's dishonesty in their part. And again, that's the problem with people, because they don't have the articulation skills. They get annoyed and they get frustrated. And it usually comes out in an emotive type of response. Do you know what I mean? So, but you know, the guy for saying that is just an absolute fucking wanker, as far as I'm concerned. And it's difficult because you want to just tell them they're wankers, but it's.
It's funny because it's funny because he said to me that what I was saying was just wanky.
Yeah.
And I hadn't said anything. I think the best thing to do is to let them talk, because they tend to dig themselves a hole. They expose themselves in so many ways. Because you and I know, and anybody that's awakened to this, it's just an objective truth. It's not. I mean, we don't know where we are. We're not saying we know.
No.
I haven't got a clue. He doesn't know. He doesn't know better than I do. But it's just. I'm sorry that I seem so flabbergasted after all these years. I thought I'd go over it, but I cannot comprehend how people can be so mesmerised by a lie.
Yeah.
And it's all down to ego. You know, I don't know about you, but I had to admit I was an idiot. I had to admit I've been dumb, but I believed the lie.
Yeah.
But in doing so, in admitting you're dumb or having the ability to do that, surely there's so much more freedom than that. Surely there's so much more.
But it's because people like you have got a spine and you don't bend to anybody's authority. You know, these people are so fucking weak that they've been enamoured by authority. You know, it's been pinpointed to them where the authority is, and that's their source of authoritative information. And that's it. You know, the difference with people like me and you is we go, fuck you, authority. I'm going to figure that out for myself. You know?
Yeah, and I don't think I knew that about myself until this happened.
Yeah.
You know, until whenever it was, you know, like 4 or 5 years ago, I lost track of time. I've really stopped thinking about time, you know, ever since I woke up to everything. But I never thought about that. I've never thought about myself like that. But then once it happened, I look back and I realised in retrospect that I've always been able to change my opinion on a sixpence.
Exactly.
My whole perception, with one new piece of information comes, if it enlightens me and changes mine, then I'll change. It doesn't matter.
No,
Yesterday, if the new piece of thing is true, if I can see it's true,
exactly.
and I can tell, then I'm not gonna. And I've always been like that, but I didn't know I was like that. You know.
Exactly.
Until this, yeah.
But that's it. You should take some pride in yourself for that. You know. And that's the thing, you know, you say that to people, look, why would anybody have a horse in the race when we come to objective inquiry? Because there's nothing you can do to change it. So why would somebody like me have a bias towards a particular, you know, notion of what reality is? It just doesn't make any sense. It is what it is, and I accept it, just as you say. If you can demonstrate an aspect of reality to me, then I accept it for what it is. But what I don't accept is people telling me stuff about what it is and they don't have anything to, you know, demonstrate it. So
that's right. And I think part of it also is the fact that I don't think he has children. So I know that. Well, I think you have children. I have children. When you have children, you suddenly realise you're responsible for somebody else's worldview.
yeah.
And when you realise that your worldview colours every single thought, every opinion that you have, you realise that it's ultimately down to you how important it is to give your children a correct worldview, or at least a free and open worldview. But when people haven't got children, I don't think they quite see that and how important it is to not be enamoured by authority.
Yeah. But it's for me, it's just part of the psychological and the emotional state of people. They're in bewilderment and they grasp onto anything that gives them the feeling of certainty, and then they will defend it. And the ego is always a big thing as well. But again, you can use that to your benefit, because the ego is one of these things that they want to be right. So if you can somehow point out to people that they may have a wrong belief or assumption, or even plant a seed of doubt, then that would be enough to make them, go over and over it again, because they don't want to be wrong,
Oh, I see. Yeah, I didn't really think about it like that, and I think I have planted seeds now. I just trying to stick to my guns regarding not having any beliefs.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's a little bit difficult because, in effect, I am lying because I do have some beliefs. There are some things that I hold in my heart to be true, as to me, that I know that I cannot verify.
But that's a different relationship. That's a different relationship that you have where, people that are honest enough to know that they have faith or belief in any particular aspect and have that categorised properly within their own mind, that it is a belief, that it is something that they have faith in, and that's fine. But as soon as you start trying to assert it as objectively true, then that's when the problem starts.
Well, that's it. But the thing is, if I do mention what beliefs I have, or faith I have, then it becomes a tool used against me. For instance, I once I realised the deception of the globe, I realised that we're not random space monkeys, and there's intelligent design at play.
Yeah.
Now, that just becomes an obvious thing, and that's why they give you the globe, in my opinion. Again, I wouldn't say it to somebody because they're just going to jump on it. But in the same way that they broke up it's real simple things, like there clearly should be 13 months in a year, or each of 28 days, because a month is the moon cycle, 28 days, and surely every month, that's why September is the 7th month, October should be the 8th month, November should be the 9th, December the 10th.
Yeah.
Surely they've broken that to show us, to make us believe we're living on a random, something random, where obviously it's created, and it's an order, and there's order to everything. And if we see the order, we're not going to believe in their random space monkey theory, and we're going to realise it's intelligent design of some kind.
Exactly.
And I don't want to talk about that. I don't want to say which way I fall regarding who did it, when it was done. I don't know who created it. I don't know when. I just know it's happened that way. For me that's a knowing, but it's not. I can't prove it, so it's a belief, isn't it? To all other people.
Yeah.
But for me, the proof is there, because the sun and the moon going around us on a freaking track. Just the Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, everything just is proof for me.
Yeah.
But I know that I'm going to remain, keep it as semantically as a belief, because I don't want to push that or give people ammunition or whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was great to talk to you, Dale. I'll let you go. I don't want to.
No worries, bud. Cheers for
I
phoning.
just wanted to say, it's been great seeing you over the years. Sometimes when I get a little bit, not really down as such, and we all get a bit down, but with all this shit going on, knowing what the world is as we know it, we can see this COVID thing is all completely a hoax and everything. It's just difficult, right? Sometimes you've got kids, you're trying to get on, you lose your work, what have you. But people like yourself and me, I think it's the same. We'll always have things like music, not like to listen to it, because a lot of that was all bullshit as well, but at least to play it. And I'll just leave on the note that I've got a really nice guitar that I think you'd really like. I've had it since I was 17.
Right.
And I saved up for it back in the day. I've got a 1993 Paul Smith Custom 24 in tobacco sunburst.
Right.
And I ain't got fuck all else. But I've got that.
Nice.
And one day I'm going to bring it up to Scotland. It's Paisley somewhere over here, because I love Scotland. I love being up there.
Come up for a jam.
I'm going to bring it up there. We're going to have a little jam in your shed.
Good man.
Alright, man?
Alright, bud.
Alright, love you, Dale. You get on and love your family.
Take it easy, my man. See you soon.
Right, mate.
Right. sook my fucking sausage, you walloper. You're not even fucking funny, your patter's fucking pish. Honestly, boringly fucking pish. John Reinbach, I agree, mate, that's exactly it. It's always fear that gets people. You know, fear in many different shapes and forms. This wee phone's fucking annoying me. Hi, hello.
Yeah, can I get a piece of,
Like, their patter's pish. Their patter is fucking shite. I mean, Scotland's at the place where patter originates, right? Scottish people are the type of people who make jokes about anything, right? And reference each other as good cunts, bad cunts, lovable cunts, hate that cunt, fucking... We use language and insults left, right and centre, and we don't bother with any of it, right? There's nothing that you can say to a Scottish person that would hurt their feelsies. No a Scottish person like me. Right? So see when I get English people and American people, and no disrespect to you, right? Because everybody's got their attributes. But see when it comes to patter and taking the piss, you're just pissing in the wind. Your patter is fucking empty. It's flimsy as fuck. Right? It's like an 85-year-old's hard on. Fucking useless. Oh no, I'll phone up and ask for a pizza. That's what I'm saying. Remember I was saying earlier about how, you know, this globe thing is restrictive and it halts progress in people. Well, it's evident. Right? That's how retarded they are. And then they've got this belief, right, where they even say it, we descended from ape-like common ancestors. No, you descended. These globe proponents are descending from a monkey, which means they're more stupid than a fucking monkey. And then they want to phone me up and try and impress me. Should it not be you ascended from? Means that you got more progressive, more complex, more intelligent. That would be ascend, going up, more added. I'm a descendant of a fucking monkey thing. Common ancestor. It was one part chicken, one part monkey, one part reptile, one... Yes. Hello.
this is me from earlier. You hung up. I'll take it more serious this time.
Aye, I'd suggest that you take me more seriously, mate, aye, because my intelligence can't be bothered with fucking thick bastards. So, either stimulate me with your fucking articulations, or you can fuck right off. It's your choice.
Yep. I was just wondering...
Are you touching yourself?
Why
Are you touching yourself?
Huh?
Are you touching yourself? Speaking to me?
I'm being serious.
You're being serious? Okay, right. You're deciding, right, you have to be serious now because some guy on the phone says so.
Do you think they would hide or lie about the shape of the earth?
Why do you think they would hide? See, if me and you went to investigate a murder, right? That you're the type of person that I would take with me, right? And we would get to a murder scene, right? And we'd walk in and there would be blood splattered all up the fucking walls. There would be somebody lying there with their head chopped off, their genitals chopped off, their feet chopped off, fucking an absolute fucking mess. And you're the type of person that would come in and say, a murder never happened because I don't know why anybody would have done that. You absolute stupid cunt, you.
Oh, that's hilarious.
You're stupid as fuck, son. Now, if you get anything to fucking justify your stupid, idiotic notion that we live on a blake spheroid, hurry the fuck up.
Well, if you let me talk.
Shut up. Bye. Again, this is part of their warped sense of reasoning. I know I'll phone this guy up, I'm not going to pay any attention to anything he fucking says, because I've just got this fucking retarded thing in my brain that I'm going to go on and I'm going to say, why do you think anybody would hide the shape of the earth? How about we just talk about the facts? How about you just reason with me based on your experience and what you've got to offer? How about that? But no all this mental gymnastics and contortions because you're a desperately weak, insecure gimp. That would be much better. I'm yet to see it from a globe-tardian. You're better off just running away and not engaging with people like me so that you can convince yourself that, oh, I'm so fucking intellectual, I don't engage with the likes of that. You fucking rodent. Yes?
Good. I was just wondering, could I have a bonus banquet with large popcorn chicken and large tango?
Yes.
Excellent. Do you need my address?
Yes.
Okay, SW1A2AA.
Smash it. You do realise that, you know, I can keep you on this phone and it's costing you money because you're an absolute fucking moron.
Unfortunately, it's not, because I'm on free subscription.
No, you're still paying for something, you stupid cunt. Stop talking
What
shit.
am I paying for?
Nobody gets
What
stuff
am I
for
paying
nothing. Nobody gets stuff for nothing, dipshit.
Then how come I'm on a free subscription service right now?
A free subscription? Where can I get this free phone calls?
Oh, really? Oh, that's convenient.
Where do I get this free stuff that you get in your delusional fantasy world?
It's an app called Skype.
An app called Skype? You're calling me from Skype?
Yes.
Brilliant. So you don't pay broadband, you don't pay any internet or anything, no?
No, basically, you get a free month of calling, and I thought I'd utilise it.
Oh, do you? But so you don't pay anything, you don't pay anything out at all? Stupid
No,
ass.
I'm not paying
Stupid
for
ass.
calling you right now.
Look, you've been clamped again and now you're just digging a bigger hole for yourself because you're a lying little toe rag. Now, if you get anything to support this globe
What
stuff,
did I lie about?
do you have anything to support this globe absurdity?
No, I just wanted to...
No, well fuck off, you're not used to me, sir. I just want to make an example of your fucking mad cult. So offer me up the stupid ramblings of your cult teachings so that I can obliterate it in front of people. That would be great, thank you. Yes. Yeah, I'm going to turn the thingy down on this fucking thing. I can't be bothered with these cretins. There we go, thanks for that. It's just doing that annoying vibrating shite. Yes?
I'm actually calling you and talking to Mary Sue. I want to...
I've left them on, they're rambling something. I've just left them talking to themselves. The naughty step. They can sit there and speak to no fucker. Well, we got on with it. Put them down there just so that it doesn't get to the microphone. Aye, I can hear you, aye. Keep saying, aye, that's an amazing point you're making there, I know. Aye, brilliant. Right, if you want to join me, you can send me an email. Or I might delve into the posting it in the chat box. See if we can get a laugh. I've missed having a laugh at these clowns. You see, it's not so hard now because I can just put the Hangouts into the playlist. By the way, anybody that doesn't know, the all the live Hangouts that have happened are on a playlist on the channel. I'm a cunt for conveying these types of things. Hang on, hold on. Hi, sorry, what you saying?
Oh, sorry. I believe you've seen Mary Sue. I've been asking for the past 3.
Oh, right, aye. Just put you back down there. Aye, carry on, sir. Robert, I'll never get back to you, mate. I seen that there. As I say, I've just been busy and illnesses in the house all this week, so I've not been responding to anything. I had a few missed calls for people in the Hangouts and whatever else, so I do apologise. Yes? He's still there. Hello?
Yeah, I've just been asking about Mary Sue. You don't seem to have an answer for me yet. Like, this is getting ridiculous.
What is that, sorry?
I've been looking for Mary Sue, but you haven't told me anything. You've just put me on mute in the corner.
Yeah, I'll go and get her. If you just hang on, if you hang on for 15 minutes, I'll go and grab her for you. Right. Post on the back's the supposed Arctic Circle, around about that region. It's the same gimps as before. I don't know if you remember, one evening once the live hangout had finished, these same dipshits called me up on Hangouts and I put them onto silence and I just sat and played my guitar, but I recorded it and they begged for my attention for about an hour. I wasn't even listening to them and they begged for my attention for an hour. I mean, remember what we were talking about earlier about how triggered people can get when their belief system's being threatened. This is the extremities. I mean, this is a cult. These people have got a cult mentality and they're so enamoured and so, faithful to their cult that they will go to the ends of the earth to try and antagonise or convince you or whatever. Because apparently they're sane and they're on the side of, consensus objective reality and all that stuff. So they have to behave like, zombie zealots. Makes a whole lot of sense. The phone number's above me if you want to phone in, but you're probably going to get, an engaged thing now, because I think. Are you still there? Aye, still there. Please play my guitar. What would you like to hear? I don't even know if it's a tune. No, it's no tune. No tune at all. I can't be bothered tuning it up right now. So we went to Plums. You still there? Fuck's sake, son. Are you still there, stupid ass?
Yeah.
Oh, for fucking carry on. She'll be here in 15-20 minutes, I promise. Maybe we should do a cover version, Lee. Change it from Smoke on the Water to Bend on the Water. Bend on the water. It's only in your eye. Something like that. There's the first couple of fucking lines. That was no bad. It's a fucking hit. We could be one of these flat earth cover bandy type things. We'll just change all the lyrics to songs. Line busy, job done. Ugh, nobody's really phoning anyway, singular reality. That's probably what they think, but we're carrying on regardless. We're giving a fuck. Laughing at globe stupidity. Morphic resonance. What aspect? I know that Sheldrake and all that stuff were proposing a morphogenic field. All these different names for ether. Hello, Mr. Golden V. You still there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm at the McDonald's now. I was just wondering what you'd like to eat. I was going to bring it over.
What's that?
So, would you like a Big Mac with a large Coke, or would you like some...
Can you bring? Do you know what I really fancy? Can you bring me a jar of some space time? And can I have a 2 litre bottle of bendy ocean water? And can you also bring me some gas at a higher pressure than the atmosphere, but I want it uncontained, so can you just bring it to me without any wrapper on it? That would be fantastic.
I don't think they sell that at McDonald's.
I've given you my order. Now, don't ask me fucking questions if you don't intend to bring me them. So I'll come back to you in 2 minutes to see if you've got my fucking bendy space time in a jar. Okay, son? Some gravity waves on the side. That's it. Chilster Deluxe wants some gravity waves. Do you want sauce on your gravity wave chips, Chilster? Hang on, stupidity. Hey, shush. Oi, shut up. I'm waiting to see if Chilster wants sauce on his gravity waves. Okay, can you get me them?
That doesn't make any sense. I'm trying to look for Mary Sue.
I want gravity waves, cunty flaps. Look, cunto, can you get us gravity waves? Some bendy space time.
Yeah, I'll go to near Sainsbury's.
Have you heard of bendy space time?
Sorry, I don't think they sell that at Sainsbury's, but...
I asked the questions. You phoned me. Have you heard of bendy space time?
What's that? Sorry.
Well, I don't know. It gets you high as fuck. Apparently, takes you into another fucking dimension.
Really?
Aye, I mean, fucking, it's wonderful stuff. Go and get me it. Right, have you got any questions? Anything we can talk about? I wouldn't give a fucking puppy dog. The cunt will probably touch it. The cunt will probably insert things where they shouldn't be inserting stuff, because that's the types of people these are. So I wouldn't even suggest that. That scares me, the thought of these cunts having animals. How about if he just behaves himself, we'll think about no slapping fuck out him? I think that's a better proposition. Nobody's joining me. Just cunts not like me. There's not many people running about Tinterwebs that have all got fucking something windswept or interesting to say. All sorts of fucking outlandish claims and statements being made left, right and centre. I would love you to come and tell me some of them. Yeah? I think people's problem is that they've got that much fucking bullshit in their mind. They're scared in case I say stop talking shite. So it could actually be good for you. Don't be scared. The only thing to be scared of is the crushing of your own false ego. Cymatics I was going to bring up. Aye. As I say, we were talking about cymatics, it was in regards to, you know, motion, you know, this argumentation of gravity and what it can do. You know, I seen a new video went up and Dan sent me it again, you know, yesterday morning, talking about gravity. And there's a lot of talk of how gravity's no the force and that it's actually the force pushing upwards on you. And the opposite reaction to that would be you having the direction of downwards. And as I've shown people before, you know, we can use motion to generate direction, how we can postulate that you can have weight, and how we can get density layers through motion. And a lot of people are not comfortable with that because of the propaganda and the misinformation that's went on. Again, you know, as I pointed out before, it's much more feasible to postulate that the Earth would be moving uniformly than it is to postulate that it's spinning and gyrating and going in 4 different directions at 4 different speeds, while at the same time it's got a magic pulley force at the centre of it. So, as I said, the other option that was there and possible for me was some sort of flow of some kind. Now, resonance in regards to, you know, frequency, sound vibration, if it was coming from above, you know, in a downward direction, could be a possible avenue to pursue. You know, cymatics, anybody that doesn't know what it is, you can, you know, people show it on sound plates, or they'll put like granules of sand or salt or whatever, and they'll pass a certain pitch through it. Now that pitch has a kind of geometry, a signature to it, so the sand will formulate into a pattern, and it's got a set geometry to it depending on what that pitch is. If you change the pitch, the geometry, the pattern will change. So you can see there how matter can be moulded and formed by using, you know, sound. So it's a good possibility. I also referenced that, you know, I'm not a religious person, but when I read certain literatures, I always try and kind of interpret it, because that's the only thing you can do. So I put the possibility there that, you know, that statement in the beginning was the word, was signifying that, you know, there had to be some sort of vibration, even before there was light or any of these types of things. So, I mean, I forget where I was going with that, but the star in the jar, sonoluminescence, I think they call it. You still there?
Hello, I've got your Bendy steak order.
Right, that's me done, me now. Right. Hi.
Hi, I have a Bendy steak order.
Right. So this is it. They want to disrupt, you know, us having any sort of interactions with each other. And that's the only thing they've got. I mean, how many weeks is it since I've been live? These dipshits are sitting fucking on edge waiting. Or is it just a coincidence that they happen to be on YouTube perusing my channel just coincidentally that I decided randomly to go live this evening? Or is it because there's organised attempts to get in the way of people like you and I just conversing and having discussions, as we should be free to do? I mean, weigh it up. What do you think's happening here? 2 options. They're sitting waiting and active in their role, or it's just a coincidence. I've not been live for weeks and I just decided at the last minute to go live this evening, and Dipshitius and his wee buddies just happened to be on my channel and see that I'm live. Dance, boys, dance! Told yous, anytime I decide, anytime I press that fucking button, you're my bitch. All yous are my bitches. All waiting. Yes. Yes. Hello? Oh, he's pressing buttons now. I've just stumped him again, and now all I can do is press buttons. They want me to switch this off. Aye.
Hello, I'm going to bring on Facebook to do Mirren Drive, PA3QPB.
That's 92 Mirren Drive. So I think she's doxing me. No, I mean, that's 92 Mirren Drive. I've told everybody that. I'm not scared of anything. Got nothing to hide. It's Fanny Buzz that him. Listen, Fanny Buzz. Listen, Fanny Buzz. Fanny Buzz. Nobody knows who you are or where you stay. You're a faceless gimp, right? An insignificant little fucking pipsqueak. Did you get me that jar of fucking space-time yet, cunt?
I'm in the McDonald's.
Listen to this. Listen to this. Listen.
I don't know what you're talking about.
See, the thing is, you know, as I've just pointed out to people, that's how pathetic you are, because I randomly went live this evening, right? And you're on edge, sitting waiting for me like a little fucking knob jockey, right? A little cock-sucking knob jockey. Fucking panicking, they're fucking idiots. I'm good, Emerald Rider. How's yourself, mate? That's what I'm just pointing out. Good times for all. It's no, you can't just accredit this to just. At what point do you say, look, it's beyond coincidence, right? I mean, you could say that there's just random people who like to troll or whatever, blah blah. There's a point to do it, you know. What's the chances of these people being on my channel when I randomly decide to go live? Huh? I mean, this denial that there's an organised attempt, right, to corral this whole thing and to try and stifle it and shut it down if they can is beyond a joke. I don't know how anybody can still be in denial about that. Aye. Hello? What?
Well, speak up the courtesy. Peter Gas.
Do you know what? I'll make it even better for them. We'd like to give you a call on above subject on star phenomena. I spoke with you a couple of months ago regards Kim. Right, wait a minute. Right, Kim Rapley Hawkins. Link is sent. So in that recent video that I was referencing, you know, he's showing about the equivalence principle, you know, and being the experience of the observer within a reference frame, you would have no way to tell the difference between being in a uniform gravitational field or whether the Earth was, you know, in uniform motion. There's a big problem for the globe. You can't have a globe, right, with people all in it and have it in uniform motion. Right, you need to add magic and stuff and all sorts of nonsensical gibberish into it. I might go through it live through the week and just watch that video and get through it. The pizza's ready, is it? Smashing. Does it get plenty of bendy space time as a topping? Gravity is not a force, it's the warping and bending of space time. How do you warp and bend concepts? That's what I would love to know. Kim Hawkins, your link's been sent. I'm waiting patiently. I've got the COVID, I've got the body snatcher got me. It was waiting. It was waiting to pounce on me. I entered an area where apparently you're not supposed to be without a mask on. What is it? What is it? Nobody else is trying to phone me, so I don't know why you keep phoning the phone. Stupidity.
What do you think about the Rangers Celtic match?
What do I think of the Rangers Celtic match? It was predictable.
Predictable.
Yes.
Thank you.
Huh? I think that was like me. You can phone me all night, you can waffle your fucking idiotic shite patter all you like. It's never gonna fucking turn the world into an absurd gyrating space testicle. Sorry. Hello, Polly. We're just spastics. See, if I was that predictable, then I would have given him an answer that he could have used. But when I say it's predictable, it stumped him. Because they're just not smart enough, these people. Gravity. You know, all the talk, that'll be part of the series. I'll be explaining all that stuff and highlighting it. You know, because people lose track of the question, and the question is, what's the earth's dimensions? And they get all wrapped up in these red herrings that are irrelevant to establishing that. You know, so you get people that will debate, you know, weeks on end about gravity and the luminaries in the sky and all these mathematical concepts of useless garbage. You know, the reality is just simple. You know, we live in three-dimensional reality, the space that we share. Now, where are the practical references for any of these claims? And if they don't exist, then what are you wasting your time for? As soon as you establish that there is no direct practical reference, then immediately you should be going, okay, somebody's trying to sell me a product here. Somebody's trying to convince me of their bias. End of story. That's why they can't come and reason with me, because they're over a barrel, taking it ball deep every time. Lol, Globe Earth. What type of fucking reasoned intellect actually thinks that they live on a wobbling, gyrating space testicle? Only the delusional. Only the deeply stupid and deeply ignorant, delusional, willfully ignorant mounds believe it and defend it. Again, Try and reason with them, you expose it very quickly. How do you believe in a globe? Because it gets dark. Okay, so your justification for believing you live on something that you don't experience is that it gets dark. Righty. You get anything else? Hey, I've got loads. There's abundant proofs. Give me one then. I've got pictures. Where are these pictures? They're on the telly. On the TV. Oh, internet. Oh. So I can see them on a screen. Wonderful. See, this is the problem. Have no sphere. I really wish people would stop using that. Explanation isn't practical scientific demonstration. Because again, just like the term flat earth, science has been hijacked and weaponised. Okay? And it's a weapon that's used to, confuse people and to apply sophistry and all sorts of manipulative means and measures. Right? For the likes of you and I, real common people, we can just refer to things in that as practical reference. I've got this stuff that's harder than that stuff, and I can use that stuff to break that stuff. That's cool, show me. No worries, right here, look, I've got this thing that I call a hammer, I've got this stuff here that I call rock. Now if I hit that with that, it breaks. Brilliant, oh so you've got stuff that does the stuff you said it did. It's that fucking simple. As I say, and I'll be showing it, science has been hijacked, a weaponised word that's used for all sorts of fucking gibberish. Space Force. But we've been to the moon. No, mate, you've not been out your mammy's basement. You never went anywhere. You watched it on the telly, same as everybody else. That's cultural vandalism for you to say that. Sorry. Oh, look at here. I've seen the Werner von Braun. Who's this that sent me this? Willie. I thought it was that the glorified firework climbs on a curved incline trajectory. If you view a shuttle launch from the ground, your perspective gives you the impression that it's going straight up to break through the atmospheric barrier. But even at that, they tell you that they don't. They tell you that they go, it veers off and kind of goes in a horizontal position so that it can get the slingshot effect, so that if it goes with the spin of the earth, it can break through and it can get out into the vacuum of space using the slingshot effect, and it slingshots it so that it keeps it in a trajectory of perpetually falling around the earth just like magic and all this. Aye, they go up like that, they bend away out there and they drop them in the fucking sea. Oh, what do they call that bit? The Bermuda Triangle? I know, we'll make some fucking legends up. We'll make some urban legends shite up, right? What we need to do, right? People are going to ask questions because we keep sinking boats and aeroplanes that have seen shit they shouldn't have seen. So what we need to do is we need to create a mystery and we'll just make stuff up, right? And we'll say, so you don't get people going and throwing the Bermuda Triangle proponents because that's got to be kept as a feasible avenue of possibility, so that people don't get suspicious about the amount of sunken fucking boats and planes that are in that area that's seen stuff they shouldn't have. that pretty much being fireworks dropping back into the fucking ocean. So we'll call it Bermuda Triangle. Then we'll pump out some stories, and we'll get people on YouTube, experts who are ex-military, and they know stuff about Area 51 and the Bermuda Triangle, and ooh, where did that shit go? Oh, it entered a vortex and went to the fifth dimension or stuff. That just translates to it get fucking torpedoed right out the water. Because it shouldn't have been there. If you're going to go to the area known as the Bermuda Triangle, make sure you go there when NASA are no firing fireworks, right? Because you might be unlucky and just be in an area where it's to come down and you're going to go down with it. So be very careful. The thing about the Bermuda Triangle is to time your journey. If you time it so that you don't coincide with firework launches, I think you'll be safe. You need a medium. You need the opposite and equal reaction. If you're not pressing on anything, then you're not going to get momentum. You need something to press against. So you can send me, but I've looked at all this stuff, I've covered all this stuff, and apologies to people, I don't mean to be arrogant or ignorant in regards to it, but if you went back and watched, the last previous 5 years, we've pretty much covered all this stuff. So I appreciate that people think they're giving me new information or whatever, but you really know. But, keep it up, keep sharing information with other people and whatever else. The Werner von Braun thing, the Psalms 19:1, the heavens declare the glory of God, the skies proclaim the work of his hands. Operation Paperclip, yep, all the top Nazis brought out. We know all this stuff. Again, this is... I don't go over and over all that stuff because I just assume that at this point, if people are coming to this, they're going to have looked at that stuff. So Operation Paperclip took the top Nazi scientists out and spread them about America and South America and wherever else, and they continued on their works. And from that point we had Walt Disney and fucking NASA appearing, and it was all these same people. Oh, Bill, I don't know how I feel about that. I like Ewan Dobson, but I mean, surely I'm merely a superstar in Ewan Dobson. I'm not even happy that you're listening to him in the background. If you're here, your loyalty to me, El Guru Extraordinaire, should be fucking 100%. I don't know if I want fans that have got other likes. That's just no chocolate. Your whole life should be dedicated to worshipping me. Roger, why don't you come in and, grace us with your level of intellect then? Obviously you're intimidated, Roger. Be specific then, Roger. We can all sling shit at each other. I could call you any amount of obscenities. We can all sling shit. But if you're an intellect, then you would have articulations with specifics. But you don't have any. That's fine, Bill. You're forgiven. Cheers, Willie Beamish. As I say, I've covered that. Kim, you can phone me. The number's above. You can dial the number that is above me right now, and you will call me. No, I'll be bringing that back up. As I say, when I get into the broken down series of every aspect, I will get to that that'll be one of the kind of end points, the power test. Because as I said before, if people really, really wanted that, as I say, I don't need it. You know, I know that there's demonstrable level, and that any standing body of water would tell you as such. So for anybody that you know needs more, then that would be the perfect thing. People asked me about this before. The point is you have to, you know, if you're a globe earther or whatever, everybody will agree that there's plumb line. You can put a plumb, right, and the globals will say, "Oh, that's the line direct to the centre of the fucking globular potato rock." So if you make that your relative starting position and you build relative to the plumb, then if you constructed something using Euclidean principles, as we do in everyday existence, then what would start to happen is that the earth beneath that construct would deviate. It's simple geometry. Put a ruler on a ball and you'll see what I'm talking about. Right? Eventually the curvature underneath would start to drop from the level. But it doesn't happen in reality. Right, any questions? Anything else? Oh no, fucking Dodo's unsubbed. Fuck's sake, what am I going to do? Please don't. I am defined by how many subscribers and viewers I get on YouTube's and likes and dislikes. It defines my very existence. So let it be known that you're fucking with me at a very deep level when you decide to unsubscribe. I might have to give Emma a swift punch to the jaw this evening rather than a kick, just to get it out, you know. Yes?
Evening, Joe. It's Kim.
Kim, how you doing?
Not too bad, man. It was good to hear you this evening. I didn't expect you to be on anymore, but yeah, it's good to hear you, and you're still getting buggered by those idiots.
That's it. It's all good, it's all good.
Yeah, so I was trying to ring you up. I just wanted to talk to you on Friday morning. I'm living in a van at the moment, and I get up quite early to go to work. And I opened up the slide door, and the coffee was, you know, metal was sort of getting boiling and everything, and I just opened up the slide door, and it was a lovely starry night. This is on Friday, and it was really nice. And over to the east, I saw this constellation, and it was really bright, but I hadn't seen it before, and I'm fairly familiar with the common ones and stuff. Anyway, the kettle went off, so I rolled a fag, made a coffee, went back out, and had another look at this, and it started to move the whole lot, you know.
Yeah.
There was a pattern to it.
Yeah.
There was definitely a pattern to it, and sometimes it was like a long row, and then you would have little branches off, and then you had little, you had 3 or 4 in a pattern like a square or a triangle, and then you had some others moving up and down on the sides.
Yeah.
And then what happened was that they all kind of came together in a sort of a formation, a line, and drifted off.
Yeah, I've witnessed that type of thing, to be honest with you, a few times myself, and I've witnessed it with being in company.
What are your thoughts on it, man?
To be honest with you, man, you would go round and round in circles contemplating what it was. I mean, it's just something that I've observed and noted as being peculiar and strange, but I've got no idea, mate. No idea what it is. I've seen it singular. I've seen quite a lot of singular ones, but I've seen the formations, and I've seen groups of formations coming together to form a bigger formation and then moving off as one. So
Yeah, well, yeah. I must admit, it was just amazing to look at. John Graf. I've seen, because he does a lot of recordings of the sky and stuff, and I think he's caught this phenomenon at least once or twice. And but yeah, just to see it the other morning, it was just, it was, you know, it was just really strange. And yeah, I just thought, you know, you probably needed that right relief with all these dipshits.
Did you see
still
Liv?
unchallenged, still undefeated, man. As you said, I think when I switched on, that, you know, they're too frightened to come in and meet you and debate what you're putting out there.
Yeah.
You know, so well done you.
Yeah, that's it. Hey, don't mind me asking. I hope you don't take this the wrong way, but you said you lived in a van. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm living in a van because of all this fucking stupidity, man.
I was going to say, because you sound off a posh. You don't sound like a man that lives in a van.
Oh, I think it probably goes down to, you know, that you can't really judge a book by its cover, my friend.
That's it. That's probably that. You're probably right. I'm being very, very shallow, very narrow-minded, but to me, you just don't sound. You sound as if you're like the Lord of the fucking Manor, no a guy in a van.
Well, I wish I was. Well, I am the Lord of the Van. And to make it bring it into reality, I work on the dust carts, man.
Oh, do you? For fuck's sake. You must be the most well-spoken ever.
Well, no, I started off on the rigs, didn't know what I was doing. College. I went to college and then I didn't know what I wanted to do after that, and then got into the rigs thing in Aberdeen, which was really going at the time.
Right.
And then fell into computers, came back to see some old school friends, and one was working in computers. That was the early day, you know, when you had tapes and you had to sort of type in stuff at consoles in order to talk to your the computer. Well, it was just different in those days. So,
You would be a very useful man to, you know, for a narrator. See, for making some videos that you wanted to articulate to people, because you've got that kind of spoken voice that people would accept. It sounds posh, it sounds authority and that type, you know. I think you would be a very, very useful tool.
well, I'm pretty much of a rebel, my friend. I think I've been in trouble because of it all. You know, and I've never agreed with the system. I don't know if you've heard of Max Siegen, but he said something some time ago that when he was really young, he was just struck that there was just something wrong.
Aye.
And yeah, I kind of had that all my. I mean, it was such a joy. I think was it 2006 were you going? I can't remember. I think it was when you were in the backyard and you were doing basic things with water and another gent.
Yeah, I mean Marty.
Yeah, and it was such a refreshing thing to see.
Aye, but a tongue in cheek. That's it.
Really refreshing at the time, definitely. And yeah, I mean, I you know, I've got children, well, divorced and all that kind of stuff, and yeah, I'm still chippering away at things, but unfortunately,
it's the same for me, mate. You just plod on each day.
yeah.
You know, we're on the same boat. You know, the questions are still there, the situation's still known, but you've just got to go on with the day-to-day aspects of living and try and distract yourself now and again, you know. So I can sympathise with you, mate, but living in the vans can't be bad, you know.
Well, it's doable, man. It's doable when you haven't got a lot of anchors. But no, I mean it's okay. It's okay. I was living in a yurt actually for. I tried that for 3 years. That was brilliant.
Aye.
That was really brilliant. I was doing gardening work, and that was really nice. Beautiful design, and they worked really well.
know, mate. I know.
Absolutely ridiculous, and it's so cruel to the young people as well. I think.
Yeah. I know.
It's really, really cruel.
It's just another sign. It's another symptom of how, lacking people having basic skills of discernment and, reasoning with not only themselves but the world around them. So that's the frustration for me. There's so much potential there if people just had the tools to think for themselves.
Yeah, but it's just. What intrigues me is that why aren't people switched on more? Not just to the COVID thing, but as to where we live. I mean, you made an excellent point ages ago that how can you start formulating an idea, gathering information about your environment and who you are if you don't know where the fuck you live?
Exactly. It's just all delusional behaviour,
Yeah, it's not a non-starter, isn't it, really? I mean, you just can't...
No, if you're trying to piece your existence together, you need these aspects, or you need to have the ability to admit to yourself that you know that you're delusional and you're partaking in delusions, But people don't. They think it's real. They think this is life and it means something, and they have certainty, and they just fucking don't.
Yeah, but I mean, you put it at I know, you put it across extremely well, though. I think you do, and it's like a lot of people when they're making cases about particular things. What's really annoying is that you just wish that these people had a channel.
Yeah.
That people with televisions, they've got an option to, or
Switch.
their Sky. I don't have TVs, but whatever they have out there. I mean, last time I looked on my daughter's television, I mean, it's like 400 odd channels.
Yeah.
400 odd channels. Why haven't you got a TV channel though?
That's it.
Because it costs a lot of money, right?
Yeah, that's it. I can imagine me on the TV, fuck.
Well, yeah, but you would obviously manage yourself a bit more. I think when it comes to the old exclusives, but
I would need some elocution. I would need some elocution lessons for yourself, mate. You would need to teach me how to speak like you speak.
Hey, man, when I'm in the cab, man, I'm effing and blinding. Like, I fall right in there, and
I know, but swearing's no the same in a posh accent. Swearing's just no the same.
Anyway, it's great that you're still there. You mentioned that you were going to try and put out some little small ditties for people, and
I'm going to
looking at that.
I'm going to do it in a chronology. So I'm trying to, the hardest part for me is just how to start, and then I want to do it in a kind of chronological sequence, from how I see it and how people need to reason with each other, and then progress into the actual topic, and then the aspects of that, so that people can share it and it's got a certain chronology to it, so that it's not just random, all over the place. So I'll try and keep it so that everything coincides with the one before, and it's like a running story, if you like. So.
Well, it's educational. I mean, and I think it's important because I think what they're doing now is they're getting rid of the means for information to be out there, and I think if you could do something like this because it's beneficial.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very dystopian the way that we're going.
Yeah.
And I don't really. I'm trying not to get too sucked into it, but it looks very grim.
Yeah, it does.
It's extremely grim.
It does. Especially from your point of view, when you're aware of so much and you're aware of the situation, and it really does become apparently grim. As I say, admittedly, it's kind of through me, seeing the level of stupidity of people and their acquiescence to this fucking nonsense is mind-boggling, and it kind of deflates you a wee bit.
Very much, and without getting too extreme here, but I mean, they do say about frequencies coming out now through radio and television.
Yeah.
I mean, do you think that might be some sort of hypnotic trance that people are getting into?
I think the use of these types of technologies, along with the psychological tactics, the manipulation, propaganda, misinformation, emotional sway, it's a culmination of varying aspects. I think too many people try and pinpoint one specific. I don't mean yourself, but people will say, "Oh, it's this or it's that," and it's what. Yeah, I just think it's an amalgamation of loads of avenues that people are being targeted.
Yeah.
As I say, first and foremost, people have never been. They always talk about advancing the world by education, and people require education, but the education I'm talking about is a method of how to think and how to reason. No a regurgitation and repetition of what to think and what to repeat. And I think that's always the issue for me. If people had a proper access to real tools of learning, then we would have different results. But
well, maybe your vacation is maybe some sort of teaching and something is out there for you, because they don't do it in schools, do they?
No,
they, and this is what is frightening, I think.
Yeah. Well, that's my kind of hope. My hope is, once I get through the kind of chronological series of this topic, I would like to also branch into the avenues of, the liberal arts, the trivium, quadrivium, methods of thinking and whatever else, which I'll try and incorporate into the series that's coming up, but we'll see how it goes. But.
Please do stay with it, because I'm not licking your ass here at all, man, but it's this is important stuff, because we're just losing everything, I think, and I think it's really important that we try and keep this stuff and people come out, and we need to re-educate people, technically, get rid of politics, but also just revamp the education system, and there's so, as you say, we're so talented, there's so much we can do, but it's just amazing how people are just gone. Anyway, good to talk to you, and
you
keep
too.
going.
You too, bud.
And I'll catch up with you one day. I've got a motorbike, a Blackbird.
Nice.
And I'm dying to maybe just pack up, just jump in it one day and come up and buy you a beer.
Aye, anytime. I don't drink, but you can buy me a cup of tea or come into the shed and get a cup of tea anytime, my man.
Yeah?
Anytime.
I've got a good recipe for chai tea, Indian tea, which is nice. I don't know if you're into that. It's, but it's really nice. That's normal tea with cinnamon sticks, cardamom pods, black pepper, corns, and what else am I missing? A bit of ginger. Yeah, it's really nice.
Aye, defos, man. As I say, anytime. Yeah, welcome.
Okay, buddy.
All right, man.
Well, keep going.
Aye, cheers, bud. You too.
Take care.
See you soon, mate. That's the same for anybody that wants to visit. Let me know. As I say, I don't make any bones or hide who I am and where I am. If you want to come and visit, get a chat, well, by all means. As I say, there's been loads of people that I've met through this. Hang on a minute. Hello.
How's it going, mate?
Who's this?
I'd rather not give my name if that's alright. So he's on YouTube, is it still?
Aye.
Hello?
You could have just made a name up.
Yeah, I just wanted to talk to you about the flat earth and stuff.
What flat earth?
Sorry?
Which flat earth?
Which one?
Aye, well, what flat, define, I don't know what you mean, what flat earth? Whose flat earth? Are you addressing my specific claims, or are you just referencing some propaganda straw man version?
Everyone has different claims, I know, but I just wanted to talk to you about, we don't really think too much about what's outside of the flat earth. We go through all the logical fallacies.
What do you mean, what's outside the flat earth? I mean, I'm getting the sense that you've got some model that you've got depicted in your mind.
Yeah, I don't adhere to any specific model, but the general consensus is that we're surrounded by an ice wall, no?
Well, I don't know about any of that stuff, mate. I don't know. I mean, it's up to you if you want to believe in that or make that claim, but I don't.
Oh no, I don't believe in it. I'm just theorizing. But well, what you don't think that?
Well, I don't think anything because it has to be explored.
Has to be explored.
Of course it does.
Oh yeah. Well, I agree, but there has been explorations, no, with Admiral Byrd, all that kind of stuff.
But these are just people that are telling stories. They could be telling you anything.
Fair enough. Okay. I didn't know that you. I thought you had a theory on.
No. I'm just a real. I'm just a.
Model is, or you don't.
I'm just a realist. I'm a realist. I don't live on a model or in a model, or I can only take things on experience. And if
So what do you think about Antarctica then? Because it's quite clear that we're not allowed to really go there.
it's the same in the north, you're not allowed to go up there yourself either. Or there's other regions that you're not allowed to freely go and travel and explore.
But there has to be some sort of, if it is flat and it's not a globe. If it's a globe, then you can just come back around it yourself. But if you think that it is flat, then there must be
But that's, I mean, there's a fault in your reasoning, because theoretically, if you did go in a straight line and ended up backing yourself, how does that then justify asserting that it would be a globe? There could be other unforeseen reasons that you don't know about. I mean, these things are just all assumptions.
Fair enough.
So I've got thoughts about certain areas and stuff, but they're just thoughts. I mean, they don't really mean anything.
I was just wondering if the reason why I asked that, I was just wondering if you were familiar with the crater theory.
Well, crater Earth theory, that's what flat Earth really is. It's like it's a big crater that holds the water in.
The information that I've been finding is so another revelation is basically that we're a lot smaller than we think, because if we don't have any reference point to how big the Earth actually is, then we can measure ourselves against a tree or something like that. But the crater Earth theory is that our crater is just, it's not all there is.
No. Well,
there's more outside of our crater, basically.
Yeah. I mean, all these thoughts and whatever else and postulations are all fine and dandy, but I mean, if somebody starts postulating a kind of infinite expanse, then I've got an issue, because the infinite expanse only deals with a lateral type situation, but we've got depth, but we live in 3 dimensions. So is it infinite in every way, or is it only across the way? That doesn't make any sense to me. But as I say, we can postulate to a blue in the face. We don't know.
There was something else I was going to run by you as well, actually, because I'm of the opinion that it's a carefully constructed lie. That's been purposefully put out, and
we can see that by the use. You can see that by the use of geometry, and that's what they've done. They've inverted the geometry of our vision. They've also used geometry to encircle us. So you just describe a circle around a set area, and then from that you can construct a globular concept. So we could be in a corner of some area, and geometry's just been used to keep us in that position. But
yeah, I agree. Because what I was going to say to you was something I noticed the other day when my dad was watching tennis. Because I've been looking a lot at the perspective grid. When it shows the horizon and whatnot, and the tennis court, it seems to be, that's what it's representing. If you look at it from a bird's eye perspective, then it's showing the horizon and
the middle.
You see what I'm saying?
But that's what I was talking about earlier. If you look at your eye, so if you take an object that's bigger than your eye and you look directly at it, the top of the object reflects to the bottom of your eye, and the bottom of it goes to the top. So there's a junction point in the middle. Just as you say, if you were looking a bird's eye view down on a tennis court.
I think the reason why they do that though is because it's something. If you figure out that the horizon point of your perception,
Uh-huh.
and it's not, then you can say that it's the sunset is not going down underneath the earth.
No.
So they know that if people figure that out, that's basically.
But here's the thing as well. But here's the thing: people avoid these things too. I mean, even for say postulating that the sun did go down, right? That doesn't just from that saying that the sun goes down doesn't then define the Earth as a sphere either. Again, there could be unknown, aspects of how these things work.
Course or path or something.
Exactly.
That takes it down.
Exactly. I mean, there's all sorts of different possibilities. But
I mean, most people think that, when boats go over the horizon, that it's going over the curve. Like, we've just been taught to believe that, without questioning it. And that's one of the main things that if people woke up to that. I think that's why the tennis court is a representation of that, because what they're doing is they put it in right in front of you, so that, well, not to say that, okay, we've told you the truth now. There is that aspect of it as well. But it's so we become familiar with it. It's like an image in our mind. So if someone tries to show us it as something new, we're like, okay, this is not even new to us. We're already familiar.
I mean, you can use the reference to the tennis court as an example, but I wouldn't be referencing the tennis court as being some sort of constructed game to rub our faces in it. I don't think that.
Well, I think this is a free. Well, I don't know. It's not. I don't want to use the word Freemasonic because I don't want to say who actually constructed this lie, but it's some sort of. The French Freemasons seem to be behind a lot of it, and I think tennis was invented by the French. And tennis is like a royal game as well. It's not like a football, for instance, is a lower class game, and tennis is an upper class game basically. So, but who constructed these games, because they're for the people and the masses as games. Because I think it stems from tying it loosely together from Roman times with the Colosseum, and the Colosseum was commissioned to distract the people from what the upper classes and the royal and the ruling classes are doing.
Yeah.
Okay? With sport, you can see, I'm sure that you're aware of how mainstream sport is brainwashing, quite a lot of the people that we need to be part of the people and rise up against all this stuff. They're being brainwashed by Cristiano Ronaldo, and they idolize these figures in sport, to a sick degree, basically, is what I'm saying.
Yeah. Well, that's the aspect of sport, isn't it? These idols are used to push certain agendas and to reaffirm certain narratives. So, you even see that, the acquiescence to the authority in regards to coronavirus. We have it here in the UK just now, where you've got these sports people who are, basically yes men for the government narrative and go along with it. Although you can see the frustration in some of these people where they know that it's a lot of shite, but as you say, they're over a barrel because they know they'll be reprimanded if they speak out or they let it be known what their personal thought is on the matter or whatever. So you can see that sport and these types of idols are definitely used to push narratives.
Yeah, I was wondering for quite a long time how they're doing that, because there's people close to me and my family that are so engulfed in it, so twisted up in it that they just, it's just a normal thing of alcohol and the Premier League,
Yeah.
It's just considered normal. But I was thinking one day that I watched a video on this guy talking about how most of the mainstream sport is rigged at a certain level. Not every kick of the game has got to be rigged or whatnot. But it was described as, say, in the top part of the league, most of the players on either side of the team they know that it's staged, and I compare it to the World Wrestling Federation.
Yeah. Well.
WWE, that that's fake, and I'm just saying mainstream sport, or this dude in the video was saying that mainstream sport is as fake, you know. And the reason why is so all of that emotion that people feel for their favourite team, and you know, when there's a comeback from like 3-1 down, if it's all fake, all of that emotion, the cheering, is real emotion, but it's been sucked into a fake medium.
Well, I'm willing to buy into that. You know, especially the situation right now in Scotland with the whole Celtic and Rangers thing, and Celtic trying to win 10 titles in a row. I'm quite willing to go with that, because I've said it before. Like, there has to be a balance. We can't have one team, you know, constantly being better than the other, because then people would get disgruntled. So that's my excuse. That's my excuse for Rangers winning this afternoon. It was a fix so that the Rangers fans would stop crying. So.
Yeah, like when you're told that, when someone makes you aware of it, then you can sort of see it, and you can see the stupidness in it. Not to say that like sport is amazing and athleticism in general is amazing, and some of the being skillful and creative in sport is not something that I'm saying is a bad thing, but it's being used in this way to generate all this false energy and false emotion.
We'll have enough.
It's just with the whole money situation and how much money there is involved in it. People are going to work for £20,000 a year and spending their free time watching people kick a ball around for hundreds of thousands of pounds a week.
Yeah.
They don't have a problem with that, or see the disparity in it.
See, I'm with you. I mean, all these attributes and skills are great, but we live in a corrupt system. So any aspect of that system can be utilised as a tool or a weapon to further corruption. So I think anything's fair game in that regard. I agree with you at that point. I just kind of draw the line that's
it's becoming more obvious now, isn't it? With the audience not being in the games now and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's showing that why have we all been sort of going crazy and nuts about all this stuff all this time, when it's just people just playing a game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly, mate. Exactly.
But anyway, it's good to chat to you. I watch your videos sometimes, and I value how you've gone out on your own sort of and done it, even though I know a lot of this stuff, but I'm not out there really like putting my reputation on the line, you know, like how you are. So that's a big thing. So.
Well, that's because reputation requires you to have a care of what other people think of you. So, in that regard, I don't have a reputation because I couldn't give a fuck.
Well, you've got a new one now, and it's a good one. You know, you're trying to. I don't know the truth. I've heard you say yourself that you don't know the whole truth, like, and you wouldn't say you would say that, but we're trying to guide people and show people the holes in the system. You know, so.
That's it. Well, keep talking, mate. Just all you can do is keep talking to people, mate. Keep having the conversations, you know. So.
Yeah, the smart ones. Well, not the smart ones, but the ones that
the honest ones
are listening at the moment. So.
The honest people will hear it, you know.
All right, dude. You have a good evening, yeah.
You too, my man. Take it easy.
Cheers, mate. Bye, bye.
Right. That's it, Steve HV. You have to be that way, or else you become corruptible. You know. So you start governing yourself, and you know where you can take yourself in regards to your contemplations, your thoughts, whatever, because of fear of, you know, what other people are going to think or say or whatever. Then that's no good for you. Exactly, mate. What's with flat earthers smoking? See, this is a type of stupidity you know, people smoke, people do. I mean, there's billions of people out there that believe they live on a globe. Have you seen the amount of depraved lunatic shit they get up to? I could just say, I could pick any random criminality and insane behaviour and just attribute it to saying, look how globe believers behave. Maybe we should try that. Huh? Maybe we should just randomly go about the world picking up heinous criminals and their cases and then just attributing it and saying it's because they believed in a globe. That's why they're fucking psychotic criminal predators, because they believe they live on a globe. Mad globe believers. Get a grip of yourself. That's that flat accord music. Who is it you're talking to here? Chris. Where is this, Chris? I don't see it. Is there people in the chat box that I can't see? Rickus, how you doing, mate? That's it. Globe believers base their whole lives on drinking a poison and watching TV. Exactly. Excellent, Anne. Nice one. I look forward to it. Hope you're all good. Tanya, how you doing? Neil McCrobb, that will be brought up in the upcoming sequence of videos. That's it, Ross Fraser. You know, back at a time, you can see the effects of that bamboozling, you know, use of language and sophistry and consensus and the weight of authority that affected you before, you know, and how your relationship was with mainstream narratives and the stuff that it pushed. You know, it's hindsight's a beautiful thing. You know, you can look back and you can see the position you were in. And again, that's what people need to remember. The majority of folk that you're engaging with are still at, you know, those levels. So you've got to think how you're going to snap them out of it. As I say, it's, for me, if you look at it like a hypnotic state, it's a longer process to try and put somebody into that kind of state, or a state of bewilderment or whatever, than it is just to snap them out of it. Because sometimes that's all it can take. You've experienced it yourself. You can have some particular view or faulty knowledge of something, or an assumption that you've had, and all of a sudden somebody says one thing and you snap out of it. Like, standing bodies of water don't bend. That should be enough. But some people are hell bent on protecting their stupidity. It does bend because a man on the telly said gravity, and I've seen a picture. You mentioned before that you had some types of supernatural type experiences years ago. I'd love to know more about them. I've never heard any such experience, unfortunately. I don't know about supernatural. You're sticking the label on that. Again, we have to define these things, but we're talking about natural. Natural would be, just the circumstances we find ourselves in and a part of. You could say, well, that's your natural environment, but if you go to another level and you say, well, if you accept that it's in your mind that it's a creation, this, something built this, something made this, then that would tell you that what you call natural is only relative to you and your circumstance. But how can it be natural if it's a construct? Because just like any construct in your natural environment, you understand, you comprehend that it's not natural because it's been constructed. So the circumstances we find ourselves in, you could refer to as natural, but that's only in reference to you and your experience of it. If it's a construct, that means that actual reality, true natural reality, is out with the construct. So this natural, supernatural stuff's a bit meh, wishy-washy. So my experiences were my experiences. People give it labels. I'll leave them up for a while, Steve HV. Definitely. It's like if you were born in a barn and all you thought was is that the barn is your world, that's your you would be calling that my natural environment. And then you realise, but it's surrounded by this construct. This barn thing has been built. I wonder what's outside it. That would be true reality. Oh, so now you need yourself a big megaphone and go up the town centre and shout, "I'm woked! Listen to me, everybody, I'm not a crackpot with a megaphone screaming at you and shouting the odds the town centre. I'm woked to fuck and I'm here to woke you up. So come and speak to me. You've been lied to and you're a fucking moron." It's a good way to create conversation with people. It's fucking brilliant. Wear a woked t-shirt while you're at it. I've seen that Emerald Rider. I've been watching. You seem to be fucking anywhere else. You know, you're never anywhere but that fucking truck. Are you merging with it? Is this the AI? Are you becoming one with the fucking articulated vehicle? Is that your game? You trying to advance the tech or something? See, I don't know if I don't think I'd mind that if I didn't have the kids and stuff. You know, constantly moving. I don't like the expectation part right enough where, you know, you have to be here at this time and you must get there for that time. That's a bit nah. But the idea of just fucking travelling from day to day, seeing different stuff, I think that'd be fucking brilliant. Just know the expectation bit. Right. I've had enough. I'll see you all very soon, people. Take care of yourselves. I'll see you through the week.